The journey of being seen, discovering the voice within. Welcome. Today I want to share a very personal reflection about something I have been exploring recently. The fear of being seen, not just being noticed, not just being acknowledged, but being truly seen. Seen for who we are beneath the roles we play, the expectations we carry, and the ways we have learned to protect ourselves. I think many of us have parts of ourselves that we keep hidden. Parts we have learned to make smaller because, at some point, being fully ourselves did not always feel safe. For me, this journey began with a question, and that question opened a door I did not realize was waiting to be explored. There are moments when someone asks you a question, and in that moment, you do not realize the impact it is going to have. Recently, I began working with a new therapist, and quite early in our conversation, she reflected something back to me. She said, "I can hear that you are holding yourself back." And what was interesting was that I was not surprised. I think part of me already knew there was something I was holding back. I have always felt that there was a part of me that was not fully stepping forward, but I could not quite access what it was or why it was there. I have always considered myself someone who is emotionally aware. I can recognize my emotions, process them, and reflect deeply on my experiences. I spend a lot of time exploring what I feel and trying to understand the deeper meaning behind my emotions. But there was still something underneath all of that. There was still a part of me that was afraid to be seen. Through her questioning, I was able to start unpacking something that I had not really explored before. What does it actually mean to be seen? What am I protecting? What am I afraid people will discover about me? And that began a much deeper journey, because being seen is not simply about people knowing the facts of your life or understanding your experiences. Being truly seen means allowing people to witness your inner world. It means allowing people to see your sensitivity, your dreams, your fears, your creativity, your strengths, and the parts of yourself that you have learned to hide. One of the questions that really stayed with me was, who am I writing my book for? And I have to admit, when I imagined people reading my book, my first reaction was not excitement. It was, oh God. That reaction told me something. The fear was not actually about whether people would like my writing. The fear was about exposure. It was about someone looking into my heart and seeing the real me. It was about allowing people to know me. And when I tried to complete the sentence, if people really knew me, I immediately felt a block. I could not finish it. That block was information. It showed me there was a part of me that still believed being fully known was unsafe. As I explored this further, I began to understand where that belief came from. Growing up, I learned that being visible often came with criticism. When I achieved something, it was often followed by what could have been better. If I received a high grade, the focus was on why it was not higher. If I improved myself, the focus shifted to what still needed changing. If I shared an opinion, it often became an opportunity for someone to prove they knew more or explain why my perspective was wrong. Over time, I learned to question myself. I learned to hesitate. I learned to wonder, what would I know? I also carried a lot of shame around my body when I was younger. I was a chubby child and often wanted to hide myself away. Even during extremely hot weather, I would wear thick clothing because I wanted to hide my body. I learned how to become smaller, less visible, less exposed. Looking back, I can see that I developed a belief system that sounded something like this. Do not stand out too much. Do not become too confident. Do not believe you are too special. Stay humble. Stay small. But what I began to realize is that this was not my true voice. This was a protective voice. A voice that developed because, at some point, being fully myself felt risky. The next realization was one of the most important. I was not protecting something negative about myself. I was protecting something precious. I was protecting my sensitivity. For a long time, I thought my sensitivity was something I needed to manage or hide. I feel deeply. I experience emotions intensely. I notice things that others may not notice. I connect deeply with people, nature, animals, and the world around me. There are times when what I feel can become overwhelming, and my natural response has been to hide it. But I began to see something differently. My sensitivity is not my weakness. It is one of my greatest gifts. It is the reason I can connect with people. It is the reason I can understand emotions. It is the reason I can take feelings and experiences and transform them into words. The very thing I spent years protecting is the very thing that allows me to create. And then something shifted. I had this moment of inner knowing. It was almost like everything came together at once. I felt joy. I felt recognition. I felt this deep sense of truth. And the words that came through were, I am a writer, not, I want to be a writer, not, I hope one day I will be good enough to call myself a writer. I am a writer. And that statement felt different. It did not feel like something I was trying to convince myself of. It felt like something I was finally allowing myself to acknowledge. I realized that I have a natural ability to feel deeply and transform those feelings into language that speaks to others. I have a strong visual mind. I can embody emotions. I can understand the deeper layers of human experience. I can translate those experiences into words that allow people to feel seen, understood, chosen, and supported. That is why I write. Writing is not just something I do. Writing is a part of who I am. As I continued exploring this, I began to imagine the woman beneath the fear, the woman I have always been, the woman I am allowing myself to become more fully. She is a talented woman who feels deeply and has a strong visual mind. She is able to embody feelings and emotions and translate them into language that speaks to others and resonates with their own experiences. Her words speak a truth from the heart. She walks into a room with an inner confidence and an inner beauty that shines through her presence. When she speaks with wisdom, emotional intelligence, and a deep understanding of life's meaning and purpose. She values authentic connection. She sees people for who they truly are. She moves through life with childlike innocence and curiosity. She wants to learn, explore, understand, and discover the deeper meaning behind life. She has a playful and cheeky energy that brings joy and laughter to others. She values nature, emotionally mature people, meaningful relationships, healing, and helping others feel seen and heard. She notices the beauty in animals, children, simple moments, nourishing food, good wine, and conversations that connect people deeply. She listens to criticism with wisdom. She reflects on whether something is true and whether growth is needed. But she also understands that not all criticism belongs to her. Sometimes criticism comes from another person's fears, wounds, or limitations. She connects with herself and with Source daily. She reflects, explores, and seeks clarity for her highest good. She is soft. She is strong. She is beautiful. She is fiercely capable. She refuses to compromise her values, her integrity, or the standards she holds for herself. She refuses to live according to fear, chaos, or the limitations others may place upon her. This woman is me. This is Carey. As I reflect on this journey, I wonder how many people are carrying their own version of this story. How many people have hidden parts of themselves because they learned somewhere along the way that being fully themselves was too risky? How many people have incredible gifts, creativity, ideas, emotions, and dreams, but hesitate to share them because they question whether they are good enough? Perhaps the fear of being seen is not because there is something wrong with us. Perhaps the fear exists because there is something incredibly valuable within us that we have learnt to protect. I wonder what your protected part might be. Is it your creativity, your voice, your emotions, your ambition, your dreams? What if the part of yourself you have been hiding is actually the part that carries your greatest gift? Maybe the journey is not about becoming someone new. Maybe it is about creating enough safety within ourselves to finally express who we have always been. Today, I no longer want to ask myself, what am I hiding? Instead, I want to ask, who have I never allowed myself to become? The answer is becoming clearer. I am a writer. I am someone who feels deeply. I'm someone who sees the world through emotion, curiosity, connection, and compassion. I am someone who can transform experiences into words that allow others to feel understood, supported, and less alone. I no longer want to stay small to make others comfortable. I no longer want to silence myself because of old beliefs that tell me I am not enough. I want to honor the woman I have always been, the woman who is soft and strong, The woman who is sensitive and powerful. The woman who is compassionate and capable. The woman who is curious, playful, authentic, and deeply connected. This is not about proving myself. This is about allowing myself to exist fully. This is about giving myself permission to be seen. Because the truth is, I do not need to become someone else. I simply need to stop hiding the person I already am. This is Kerry, and this is my voice.